Yeti.
That's the first
Okay,
step.
hi,
All right.
everybody.
Hi, is our audio working now?
I noticed the mic audio at the same time as all of you guys. And we managed to fix it in record time. Welcome to
go.
Arcane Mark.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Today we're going to be building an adventure based on one of the ideas that we get from chat. So we're going to need to start with a concept. Folks in chat can suggest a concept. This can be anything from, an important location for your adventure, a goal, a villain, or some other motivation behind the adventure, why people would be coming in to explore. So I see we have an idea in chat from Rohit, where you're a member of a thieves guild planning a heist on a royal palace, and enter your guild, the heist is a part of a plot by a rival kingdom. We also just received a message on our Discord at tiny.cc/arcanemark about a living demiplane that might eat the PC's world. So we've got two strong ideas here right off the bat, which is awesome. Thank you all for thinking of ideas already.
Excellent.
And if you haven't already thought of ideas, there's still a little bit of time to do so.
That's right. So the living demiplane, we've got the Thieves Guild Palace heist, and
Are you going to sarcastically?
What?
And what?
What?
Oh, I just saw.
I mean, no mic audio is not really an adventure.
No mic audio is not an adventure.
Oh, and Math Guy Dave had an idea up above. I actually don't see it, so he must have put it on a long enough time before we came into the section.
Jenna was giving some more detail to that. You meet a stranger who claims to be from another world that is then. So that's like a hook for how you learn about
it says that the world is hungry for yours.
Leshy Lich.
See Leshy Lich. I will just put Leshy Lich, even though we don't have the details. Okay, well, we've got the
Everyone becomes mute for unknown reasons.
Silent episode of Buffy. Right? Remember that weird silent episode of Buffy?
Let's see. An intelligent staff of healing that's tens of thousands of years old and spent that time locked in a cell, buried in a abandoned crypt and forgetting its own history, has some unfinished business that it can't remember.
Okay. Let's do that one next. So
let's see.
That would be the 10,000-year-old staff of healing's unfinished business. Okay.
Oh, Matt Guy gave some more details on Leshy Lich is collecting living leshies and using grafts to maintain his form.
Leshy Lich is grafting from living leshies. Or I'll just say leshies. All right. So, we've got 5 choices. Vote for your favorite. Living demiplane might eat the PC's world. Thieves Guild Palace heist that was actually organized by a rival kingdom. Leshy Lich is grafting from leshies. The silent episode of Buffy, 10,000-year-old staff of healing's unfinished business. These are our 5 potential adventure concepts. We're going to use one of these concepts that we did not see in advance in order to build an adventure right here on Arcane Mark.
So I see our first vote comes in for the 10,000-year-old staff of healing's unfinished business. And the second vote, 10,000-year-old staff of healing is establishing an early lead.
That's right. But can it maintain that lead?
Obviously,
Rico's going to.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to beat.
It's going to be hard to beat that.
It's going to take a concerted effort from other voters to beat a 3-way early lead for the Staff of Healing's unfinished business.
But we do have a vote for the silent episode of Buffy also. And a vote for the Thieves Guild Palace heist.
There we go.
So it's certainly not unanimous, but it does look like the E's are probably going to have it.
All right. So we're going to do the 10,000...
Rico says this is not at all based on an NPC I dropped in my Kingmaker campaign. You know,
there you go.
Rico, I'm not sure if I believe that, given your history of requesting things that could be inconvenient.
I definitely don't believe it, because I've heard before that Rico made a 10,000-year-old intelligent weapon in his Kingmaker campaign. I didn't know for sure it was a staff of healing. All right, so here we go. Our adventure concept is that the PCs have come across in basically whatever dungeon they were already in before. The abandoned crypt was mentioned in the chat here, but we want the hook to be able to be something that anybody could put into their own campaign. So you're in the dungeon, you found this ancient Staff of Healing, and the Staff of Healing is intelligent and has some kind of unfinished business, and that is what kicks off the next adventure. So that is a great starting hook, and it is also enough rope that it gives us sort of multiple options for where it's going to go from there. So first of all, let's figure out what level this is at, because Staves of Healing can be like there are multiple different kinds of Staff of Healing that you could use. Also, like, depending on whether you want to use this overall adventure idea in different game systems, you could just put Staves of Healing almost wherever you want in some systems. In Pathfinder, there's I think 4 or 5 specific levels where they would show
and
up.
those would kind of suggest what level this adventure might be. But I see a question from chat. First question: how would being a 10,000-year-old affect the psychology of a Staff of Healing? So
that is a good
question.
How long
has this staff been sitting here for? Probably a very long time.
What was buried? It was buried in that dungeon for at least some amount of part of that for a lot of time. And so, or locked in until the PCs found it.
So I'm wondering if the Staff of Healing, did the Staff of Healing have anything to do with was the Staff of Healing, I will stay here and continually cleanse the undead in this area for a period of time, and then eventually got forgotten? Were they, sort of buried alive with someone that had wielded them in life? Were they...
Let's think about that, but while we're doing that, in chat, put a level that you think that this adventure should be with the Staff of Healing. That will also help us determine the scope of the unfinished business. Obviously, if the level is 1, the scope of the unfinished business might be different than if the level is 20. So, let's see what level we're looking at here. So, we see 11, 13, 5 to 14. All right. So, that is going to be...
And another 11.
All right. Another 11. So we've got...
And also sort of the logic that the Greater Staff of Healing is a level 12 item.
Okay. Another 11. Okay, so it's going to be level 11. Not only is... we did get a 3 to 4 coming in right after I said that, but also a 14. So at the time when I said it was going to be 11, 11 was not only the mode, but also the mean. And it's still the median.
And I agree with Rohit that kind of half-remembered memories are a very powerful plot device.
Yes, because then it can wind up being different than the staff expects when you actually come in at the end. Well, there's going to be
2 different factors that lead to difference between what the staff expects and what reality is. One is going to be the quality of the staff's memory, and the other is going to be what's changed over time.
Yeah.
But the staff can also reveal things that would have otherwise been lost to time.
All right, so this is going to be level 11. Great. That is, as we talked about in Pathfinder, a perfect time for you to have picked up a Greater Staff of Healing and have it be like the super cool, slightly higher level item that you found.
Or major, it looks like.
Or major Staff of Healing. So it's probably a major Staff of Healing. And it's intelligent, which is extremely strong in many cases because intelligent items can often activate themselves. That's pretty powerful for a staff, especially if it still allows it to use the caster's statistics on it.
Yeah, and then just I Breath of Life you.
It's like, yeah, don't worry, buddy. I know you use your reaction. I'll put out the Breath of Life. Or, you got a mind effect on you. I'll cast Clear Mind from the staff to, or you have a physical effect. I'll do Sound Body. Honestly, an intelligent major Staff of Healing is extremely useful. Other than the fact that obviously it's a staff, so it's Clear Minded and somebody or 4th rank.
Yeah.
And you're only you're level 11, so they're not the highest rank known to existence. But given that that's not even taking your actions, if the intelligent staff can do it, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and the Breath of Life and the heal there for sure.
That's right. So we are a 10,000-year-old major Staff of Healing. We just found it in the dungeon, and based on its unfinished business, we are going to move on to some kind of adventure.
Yeah.
So that was what Linda was talking about before. Was its unfinished business based on undead is an example that Linda gave. Was it based off of healing someone? Like, did it get caught in here when it was supposed to be, like, brought somewhere and used to heal something? Obviously, if that's the case, after 10,000 years, it's far too late.
Yeah.
You would think, unless there's, like, a major area in your setting that is, like, ravaged by an immortal plague for 10,000 years because nobody healed it. Although in that case, like, maybe a major staff of healing isn't enough
to handle
at that point.
Yeah. Oh, the staff of, I see it right here. The staff of healing wants to be reunited with their partner, Staff of Arcane Might, which is in the hands of a lich.
And that could just be looking for their partner.
Yeah.
Or even their partner might be a different kind of item as well. Just because you can usually only prepare one staff. But yeah, if they want to be reunited with a different intelligent item who is their partner, then and you don't know where that is now because of time and other things like that, that could be a really interesting kind of unfinished business. I'm going to put some of these on here. Destroy a specific foe. I'm going to put the sort of non-specific versions of this. Heal a specific malady. Reunite with partner. And looks like the example of a robe as a potential partner. It could be.
So I also wonder if, part of what they want to do is understand what happened to lead them to be in the position that they were in. Like, were they in a, did they get trapped here because of some kind of cataclysm that hit a civilization and they want to understand, like, what happened to their homeland?
And at the same time you said that, we got one in chat that's like, figure out what happened. Figure out what happened with the quest that got interrupted in their land. So, like, the example here was they were on their way to a critical battle. Now it's obviously over. But what is the result?
Yeah.
Has history forgotten this critical battle?
Yeah. And then in that case, is part of what they want to do to share the story to reconstruct the story of what happened and then, like, share that in the modern day. Oh, I have another one. I wanted to discover Panacea.
Discover Panacea.
We're going to need to split this into multiple. Potentially.
All right. So, we're going to put in these 5 overall ideas, some of which we can then narrow down. Destroy a specific foe, heal a specific malady, reunite with partner, figure out what happened, or discover Panacea. Which one do you like? Vote 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So we've got a reunite with partner.
It's a question about exactly how long ago Earthfall was in Golarion. Yeah, it depends on whether 10,000 years is 10,000 years on the exact nose, or because it's very
so
close.
Funny how our chat was like, it's right after, it's right before. It's just like, it's so close to being exactly correct that that it comes down to this margin of error of 0.1%.
Yeah, and also, like, whether or not when we said Earthfall was 10,000 years ago, they mean like, yes, this year is exactly 10,000 years ago, or we're just saying it as like an estimate.
Right.
For sure.
Right, I think it was at one point exactly 10,000 years, but with the staff we didn't necessarily say it was exactly 10,000 years. All right, so it looks like we have a lot of interesting votes. We have a vote for 3, 1 or 5, 4, 1 or 3, and 1, 2, 4, 5.
Yes. And anything but 3 was because
that's 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay, so I think that means that 1 is barely ahead by 1 vote because 3 has 2, 1 has.
Well, I guess if you count them,
no, we're supposed to count them for half votes. Yes. That's correct.
So then So then I guess 3 has 1 vote, 1.5 votes.
3 has 1.5 votes. You're right. 1 has 1.2 votes in that case.
Yes.
You're right. 5 has a half a vote. 4
But then
has
3
1
has,
vote.
I guess, like, but then how do you count the anything but 3 vote?
I gave 0.25
Oh, yeah, you gave 0.25 to everything
all of them
else.
except for 3.
Yeah.
So in that case, 4 just got another.
4 got another
Another
vote, so I think
vote.
4 wins.
So I think 4 wins because it got 2 people who voted for only 4. All right, so figure out what happened. Okay, so this is our main plot line. You're in the dungeon, you find this staff, and the staff was supposed to be involved in this huge operation to stop some kind of a plot line, and it got trapped in this dungeon for 10,000 years.
Yeah,
so
so
what
the staff
happened?
probably had a wielder of some sort who was carrying them around, and that wielder presumably met their end in the location that the staff is in now.
And the fact that the stuff doesn't know what happened in the battle they were planning to get to means that the wielder never made it there.
Yes. So
Or at least the staff didn't.
Yeah.
So that means the wielder may have been assassinated or killed by accident
or like there may have been monsters in an area that they weren't expecting.
There was a natural disaster in the place
there was
where
treachery,
the dungeon was.
it could have been any number of things.
So, however, in order to be able to fit this adventure hook easily into any adventure, we'll just say, for the moment, that what happened to prevent the staff from making it to where they wanted to go is somewhat left up to the GM, in the sense that up to you when you're adopting this adventure, in the sense that, well, you know where you're putting the staff. And so if we said there's a rock slide and you're like, great, we're in the ocean. And like,
but like sort of treachery, like betrayal, natural disasters, monster attacks, or like, apocalyptic cataclysms are all good examples of what might have happened.
That's right. So you then find this staff, which is an ancient staff. And as mentioned in chat, it may not speak the common campaign language because it's so ancient. And it has this urgent, from 10,000 years ago, need to have gone somewhere, but it's been left languishing since then. And so the staff's unfinished business is to go and find out what actually happened. And since we know this is an adventure, it's going to be much more interesting if the answer to that question is a little bit complex.
Yes.
So obviously, if it's just like, oh, well, we went there and it was done, and this is a famous battle, and there's a museum that's on the spot, and the curator just tells you what happened, then that's not a very interesting adventure at all. However, in this particular adventure, it will be much more interesting if, let's say, well, this operation was supposed to happen. They were going to defeat this powerful and dangerous lich, for example. Since liches did show up in some of the other adventure ideas. And when they went to defeat the lich, the staff and the staff wielder never came. And so maybe what happened instead is that the lich was sealed, but not destroyed. And therefore, the staff, when you go there, you find that the steel is weakening. And the lich is awakening from their slumber, for example.
Yeah, I see some discussions about Earthfall as well. That the region was struck with a seemingly incurable plague. The wielder wanted to create a magic item that could cure it, but then Earthfall happened.
Yes. So
the dungeon was the things we're in was transported.
Yes, if you're playing in Golarion, because of the timing on this, Earthfall is a very easy excuse that you
Yes.
can use for just about anything in this situation. And so, but we want this to be open so that you can use it more easily. So we're level 11. The staff is asking us, and we probably have magic that can understand its language, even if we don't have someone in the party who speaks it, to go figure out what happened with this opponent that they were going to face off
So the
against.
staff probably has some idea about the opponent, but I imagine that part of it is going to be like finding where you actually have to go. You probably have some kind of a broad sense, but between the staff's patchy memories and changes to like the landscape and settlements and things like that, and ruins, falling to pieces and getting buried, you're going to have to probably do some investigation to find the where. And then
Yes.
whatever else has taken place in that location since then is going to be part of what you're going to be needing to deal with.
I agree.
But
let's start before we do that, because I think that which 100% should be the first part of the adventure. Let's figure out who the BBEG actually is, because that could give us we could make the first parts of the adventure completely agnostic to that, but I think that whatever is sealed away, and it should probably be sealed away, could sprinkle in that things that are related to that are escaping, and so we'll want to know it before that instead of designing the early things first. That's just my thought. So
absolutely.
say in chat, it doesn't have to be a lich. I just said a lich. What is our sealed evil in the can that this staff was supposed to help fight? And the staff's wielder was supposed to be the one who helped deliver the coup de grace and was missing.
Well, I'm also thinking about if the evil can is leaking, is that related in any way to the PCs being able to find the staff at this point in time? Like, was there some kind of a seal on multiple ancient areas, one of which was like the seal on the evil in the can, and one of which was like this dungeon or whatever where the staff is? And
it's also
odd
possible
malfunctioning magic
that
helped the PCs find the location or what have you.
it's also possible that it's like the spirits of the obviously, if nobody remembers this, the heroes who sealed the evil, who didn't have the staff wielder, died too, or they are not. They didn't at least pass on. Hey, maybe they also survived, but didn't want anyone to know because they didn't want evil people to unleash the evil.
Yeah.
But if they died and they were sealed in with it to create part of the sealing, then their spirits may have started to pass on, and perhaps as they did, they reached out to the staff to release it. Okay, so our villain for our level 11 PCs could be a immortal alchemist, a plane of existence, hungry plane, bound elder elemental, a powerful fae. It can be a archangel,
fallen archangel.
Archangel that it wants to take
over the
over
world.
everything. It's it's the overly controlling father who's just look at how mortals are messing up this world. Oh, those poor things. If I controlled the entire world, everyone would be happy.
Yes.
And then is trying to conquer the world. That is definitely an aversion on the sealed evil. It's actually a sealed good in a can. All right, so that's what we've got. Vote for the immortal alchemist, the hungry plane, the bound elder elemental, the powerful fae, or the overly controlling archangel as our BBEG here for the end of this adventure. It's probably going to be somewhere around a level 14 creature. Because the PCs might have leveled up to 12 by the time they face it, and then it can have some buddies.
Yeah, and any of these could be level 14
Any of these
creature.
could be a level 14
Looks
creature.
like the 1s and 5s have the votes so far, and they're in a tie.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with Kojo that
These
these
are all would
these
be
are
really
great.
strong.
Any single one of these would be a fun final opponent. All right, and Rico gave 1 or 2. So we've got the immortal alchemist. All right, so there's an immortal alchemist.
And Jaina, of course, gave to
course.
the Hungry Plane.
The immortal alchemist just slightly takes it. So there was an immortal alchemist who was sealed away for all of this time and could not be defeated because their alchemy was just that powerful.
Yeah.
They needed the healing. They needed the healing stuff possibly because what keeps the immortal alchemist alive is actually like a plague within their flesh.
Yeah, so it's like some kind of a necromantic thing, and the healing staff would be, and it would take like healing magic, like they're kind of like undeadish.
Maybe it's not even necromantic.
Oh, because it's
Maybe it's
alchemical,
literally an alchemical plague, and they realized that if they turned their own cells into this self-replicating virus, that they could stay alive forever. But unfortunately, they would spread the plague to everyone else.
Yes.
And possibly that would also allow them to like jump bodies or control multiple people with this alchemical plague.
Yeah, I like that.
That's also how they create homunculi and other things by inserting a little bit of the plague into like the new homunculus or their servants.
This was just completely getting out of control. So they had to imprison the original alchemist to stop the source, so that then they could like stamp out that. And the imprisonment, I imagine, probably weakened or severed the connection between the infection and the alchemist, thus preventing the alchemist from continuing to spread things.
Yes, I think that would be true. That means also if certain plagued creatures are encountered along the way, they don't have the alchemist's intelligence or control, and they can't continue to spread the plague.
But the area may still have been kind of a area that's been dealing with this condition for quite a while.
Absolutely.
So maybe an area that has been seen to be like an accursed region of some sorts.
All right, so looking to just the quest is find out what happened with the battle against the plague alchemist.
Oh, actually, yeah, what Melka was saying, the staff being found likely means it's in danger of spreading again. So maybe the idea is that we're talking about sort of the weakening ward and now being the time. So
yeah, the weakening ward is causing the plague
area is now
to
being
be able to
affected
slightly
by
escape.
the plague alchemist power.
And Jaina, yes, it's basically like it is kind of a cancerous plague.
Yeah.
So this is definitely an alchemist that is going to be dangerous. So we're going to try to find out what happened in the battle against the plague alchemist, but I want to go back to where Linda was before. So step 1 of the adventure is figure out where to go and what is going on there now. So that's the first phase, right? Because this staff probably doesn't know or remember exactly where the plague alchemist thing is. They may know the name is, oh yeah, we where do we need to go? We need to go to the fortress of the plague alchemist.
Oh yeah, hold on. I see in the chat plot twist, the staff was the partner of the plague alchemist and wanted to stop him. So yeah, maybe things started out in the alchemist.
Maybe the alchemist started out as a healer.
Started out as a healer who had good intentions and just was like, no, I need to keep going with my research. And then it's
like if I create this thing by using alchemical retrofitting on these viruses, I can use it to like cure all diseases and to make with my disease that fights other diseases and lets people survive and even could transfer them in a graft to like build a new body for them if their current body is sick to save the sick. And then they just went more and more out of control.
Yeah. And then eventually the alchemist is like, stop trying to stop me, and like...
So Rohit in chat is saying doesn't like if the staff was evil all along, though, but the idea is the staff is good. And the evil alchemist was, in fact, originally good, and that's why the staff wants to stop...
yeah.
And that means that while Kojo called it a plot twist, it's not necessarily a twist for the PCs because of the fact that the staff might not be hiding that information from them. The staff might be just immediately saying, we need to stop, my best friend. I was trying to help. I was warning people about this. and I was sealed away.
Mm-hmm. So then you're looking at like you're looking at how did the staff wind up being separated here? Was the alchemist just like, you're getting my way at this point?
Also,
and like, did the alchemist hand the staff off to someone, or did because if the alchemist was sealed away, had the staff with them when they were sealed away, then it would make sense that like why wouldn't they be stored there, or why wouldn't the other people have been taken?
So Kojo said it could be a plot twist for the staff if the staff didn't remember. Just remember we have to stop the plague alchemist. That's a good point.
Oh yeah.
So here's my thought. My thought is that the staff remembers we have to stop the plague alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
What actually happened was that the staff, being an intelligent item, managed to contact some other people,
mm-hmm.
and the plague alchemist cottoned on and like defeated one subgroup of them, which included the staff, and killed everyone in that group,
mm-hmm.
but couldn't bring themselves to kill the staff, who was their friend. So instead, sealed the staff away. Stop it from meddling.
It's like, someday I will succeed in my plan, and then I'll come get you, and you'll see that I was right all along.
And then the alchemist got sealed by the remaining good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that looks like that's what Kojo was saying.
Kojo had something very similar to that. Yeah. In Kojo's example, the staff might have been sealed even before contacting anybody else about it. Mm-hmm. So it can be something like that. And Gina says maybe if the staff admits the truth,
mm-hmm.
it can level up into a true staff of healing.
Yeah.
And as like part of the reward. Now, a true staff of healing is a 16th
16.
level item, but you know what?
Mm-hmm.
After the end of this adventure, if the PCs level up to 12, it is pretty outrageous to have an item 4 levels higher than you, but it's something that like the game can take.
Yes.
If you don't do it a lot. Mm-hmm. So that could be a cool kind of reward. No, Kojo, our idea was very similar to yours. It was just like a variant on the same thing. And it was based off of your take on this. So the first phase of the adventure is just figuring out where do we go and what's going on. The staff doesn't remember
exactly
and
where.
Also, the plague alchemist could have been on the move due to the fact that they were under attack.
But the staff can probably tell you like some of the signs of the alchemist plague or like some things like that, and then you're gonna be like asking around to look for rumors about similar situations.
So it's using the staff's fragmented memories, the PC's research, and ask around to try to figure out where to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the first phase of the adventure. Now, we could use the research subsystem here, even though not everything is literally a library.
Yeah.
But we could just do a very simple one where it's like, okay, so here's the information that like is known in the library. Here's what's known by scholars that requires like going to talk to the scholars. Here's what the underworld knows about this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna go talk to the criminals and do some favors for them, and maybe here's what I don't really think the people on the streets know about this because it's 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
But there's
also
maybe the Adventurers Guild knows about some things that are happening now.
Yeah,
although you might not have a reason to suspect that current events are relevant to you, unless the staff could like is getting a sense
that things are going on.
Something's going on with the plague alchemist.
It could be that like you're looking for sites that might be tied, like ancient sites that remain from whatever this 10,000-year-old culture is.
Yes, that's why I thought talking to the archaeologists and scholars.
And then maybe once you get really close, like you get to the town that's right near the ruins, then that's when you see like, oh, now there's serious things that are going on in the modern day too.
Yes. So you have research from various groups. Then part 2 is you travel to the correct location. Mm-hmm. So you figured out where the correct location is. We're going to travel there. However, along the way,
you learned that there's problems in the modern day too.
Yes, as we're getting close, we're going to be attacked by plagued creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got attacked by plague creatures. We're level 11. We want to demonstrate that, like, this plague thing that the creatures have probably, like, gives them some pluses and some minuses, and maybe leaves them around the same level for some, but maybe some of them are, like, have giant tumors that really strengthen them and make them more elite, and we can just do that sort of on the fly. So, like, what are some types of creatures that
would be around this level?
Would be around this level that we could throw in here. So we can just look and see, like, maybe some level 10 creatures. Those could be interesting. Like, those are definitely too dangerous for a village, but also not a big problem for the PCs to take on. So,
because they're not going to be. I'm also wondering about, like, is there some ability? Are some of them tied to the alchemist more closely? Like, were some of the alchemist's original creations that have now been able to escape?
Probably, although that might not be the first ones they find before they even reach the village.
You're gonna have to deal with that eventually when you break the seal. Yeah,
for sure. Those might be, like, inside of the dungeon when the seal, like, within the sealed area. Quarantine seal. So we've got a lot of...
Yeah, so it's probably going to be easier to do, like, a source space search, too.
Oh, yeah, because a lot of these ones that I'm currently searching through are just randomly from Adventure
Paths. And some of those might be, like, really tied to that.
Yeah, so
you could do, you could do level and sources.
Sources/spoiler. Let's just do rule books.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you'd also be able to do level if you want. To hit a level range. Up there? Boop. Archives of Nethys search.
Alright, we can do 8 to 12 for now. Alright, here we go. So, we've got several choices here in the 8 to 12 range that we can do for these. What kind of creature is going to be our first creature? I think a 10 would be a good choice overall.
Seems
if we
legit.
can. So,
now I see there's a flesh warp in here. I kind of wonder about, like, is that part of what's going on with this?
I mean,
like the effect of it being more advanced.
It could be. It could be the first thing you find is a behemoth
hippopotamus. Yeah, you could totally be attacked by a giant hippo. Because it's also possible that one of the effects of this plague is to bolster the hunger of creatures and thus make them more aggressive and make them range out farther than they normally would. So maybe it used to be like, oh, there's dangerous creatures over there, but they stay over there, and we stay over here, and we don't have to worry about them. And now people are like, oh crap, the dangerous creatures are leaving the valley, and now they're coming out and attacking us.
That makes sense. So you're attacked by these plagued behemoth hippopotamus. Then you arrive in town, gather info from the locals, because even after you figure out where the location roughly is, you don't know exactly where it is.
And I imagine that because you're level 11, that's a level where you're often needing to, like, kind of make decisions about how to spend your resources, as opposed to just like, oh, you're powerful enough to fix a lot of things, but maybe not everything in those kind of situations. So you're probably going to be learning about some issues and deciding where do you invest, how much time do you spend here trying to fix problems before going in, and things.
I think that's right. And so maybe once you arrive at this point, then you've asked for information in the nearest town, and there's some suggestions in here.
A plague
people are
troll,
mentioning, like a plague troll, that could be pretty cool.
A white commander, a mutant null hulk. Absolutely.
All of these could work. Because I think this disease could probably affect undead as well as the living somehow, because it's so strange and alchemical. It's not the same as an ordinary disease. So we're going to gather information from the locals.
Oh, yeah, Mabogo as well.
Yeah, Mabogo definitely are good choices in here.
Pale
horse.
Yeah.
Yes. There's some very good ones. Also, like, what level is a Nuka-Levi?
I think it might be 7.
They might be too low for the range that I was looking at.
But
they are...
Oh, 9. There we go. Actually, that's perfect.
A Nuka-Levi is also really good.
Yeah.
maybe better than the hippopotamus.
Let's put
Although
that
they
in.
are lower level, but they already are like a weird disease fae.
Yeah.
So let's say that it was Nukkalevi. And then so you're gonna gather information from the locals, and you find out that there's problems that are happening from around in several different locations because this alchemist was doing research in more than one place back in the day. So maybe you have like a very limited hex crawl that is not really about like a giant exploration, but there's just like you've got the town, and the town is under attack. Occasionally, they managed to survive thus far because of the fact the first few disease things were just kind of not as interested in them and wouldn't want to go through the walls. And so you've got a few different areas you can look at on the map and explore through, different, which have different problems that are being caused by the plagued creatures.
Yeah. So it's more
and
about
different old facilities of the alchemists that you can discover.
So it's more about, it's less about like, oh, here's a giant map, but it's more about like, this is a visual representation because you have some number of kind of exploration rounds, quote, and where like, those rounds might be like a day or whatever, but you have some kind of a time limit as you're going around and you're going to decide what to do.
That's right. So,
and things might also gradually escalate over time as well if you don't address certain issues.
I think that makes sense. Maybe what's happening is that like during the day things are usually fine in the town. At least the monsters don't want to come at the walls, but at night they like congregate around the walls and they really look like they're planning on going after them. And sometimes they even ram into them a little bit, but they haven't like gotten through yet. So maybe at this point the locals like warn the group that the monsters are not only more active at night, but they seem like they might attack the town. And so you kind of like during the day you go out to the nearby hexes to explore the old facilities of the alchemist, and at night you come back to town to help them because these monsters do start attacking and you're defending against waves of attacks.
And one of the things about
town.
escalations like that is escalations can also come with making it more obvious where the problem is coming from.
That makes sense.
So like maybe it's hard initially to figure out where you need to go, but then like as things get worse, it's more and more like, hey, that's the source over there. Wait, so that you have a so that there, eventually there's basically a giant neon sign pointing to the correct direction, but at that point you're no longer going to have the best result.
That makes sense. So you're gonna explore a very small hex map to find the 5 small, sort of small facilities. Instead of having one big mega dungeon here, the alchemist had 5 different facilities, each of which will grant us an advantage.
Yes.
Each night, a wave of monsters attacks the town.
Yeah.
And so these advantages from the facilities can allow you to put up like defensive emplacements in the town, potentially using some of the alchemical stuff that you find there, or can help weaken the enemies or even repel them so that fewer monsters attack. And you would get a unique advantage depending on which one you went to, so that your playthrough is going to be different than other people's depending on which order you went through.
Now, I also saw mention earlier about coming across a friendly NPC, so I wonder if someone else has found one of these facilities first.
That's possible.
And maybe doesn't,
Maybe the problem is that somebody found one of these facilities, and because of that, the plague alchemist, the barrier got weakened so that the alchemist is slowly escaping. So at this point, you might as well find all the other facilities, because instead of just letting it all leak out, you've got to like just open up the patient and go and operate. And yes, and as Kojo said, they definitely should also give you unique clues.
Yes.
As well. So you get a unique advantage and unique clues. And so examples could be like a sort of a defensive siege weapon, a defensive alchemical siege weapon,
Probably
for the
something to help
town.
counteract the disease.
a repellent to weaken waves, an anti-plague that helps fight the disease, etc. And unique clues. Each night a wave of monsters attack the town. So 5. That's part 4 is the little tiny hex map, the little small facilities. Part 5 is once the PCs have enough clues, this might not require
Going to all the
all
places.
5. There might be some subset that is enough, or
Yeah.
you might decide you do want them to go to all 5 because you think that there's fun stuff at each of the 5.
Oh, another idea for things you can get is strong hints about the alchemist's immunities, resistances, weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Things that let you plan for a battle.
That should be
Let's put that
that
in
should
there.
definitely be in the unique clues. Clues should be not only historical info, but also useful mechanical knowledge to plan for battle.
And I'm seeing we have even more
About
suggestions for
the
monsters
alchemist and the final dungeon.
here. Yeah. Noxious Needler, Banyata Behemoth.
I'm just gonna put a
Try to
monster suggestion list.
Yeah.
Just
And
to
then we
pull
grab
from because
all
I
of
don't
them,
want to actually populate all of these small facilities because we're
Mm-hmm.
just kind of creating an adventure structure here. Kind of what you would send to the freelancer to write.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, some people actually do tell the freelancer exactly which monsters
we
to
have
use
Pale
in which order,
Horse,
but it's very unusual.
Mabogo.
Pale Horse, Mabogo.
There were some more up above.
There were
as
some
well.
more above. Yes, there's
Mutant Null Hulk.
Mutant Null Hulk, and White
White Commander and Plague
Troll.
Troll. Yeah.
All right. So
That's probably our best bet for that. Is
I'm just
make
gonna put a monster suggestion list.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel free to use these if you're running this in the 5 different areas that we're gonna go through.
Mm-hmm.
So each of the clues will help you figure out what to bring against the main alchemist or one of the strong, difficult encounters in the final area. So
Mm-hmm.
once they find enough clues, they can locate the prison,
Now, do they need one of the things
the
from...
cracked dimensional prison.
Yeah. I'm also wondering if opening the cracked dimensional prison all the way before it just pops on its own is going to require something from one of these locations, too. Like, is there a key of some sort here?
Well,
one of these locations?
probably the alchemist does not have a key to their own prison, but
Yeah.
but it might be the case that you can use some of the alchemist's tools to help you
Yeah.
open the prison. And so I'll just say clues and tools.
Yeah, because I didn't mean like literally there's a key and like, oh, in my house there's a key to my prison
There's
or whatever.
a key to
but,
my
like,
prison. I'm glad I
yeah,
invented that
but
before
no,
I got in prison.
I was thinking of it more in terms of like something that because of its strong attunement to the alchemist can help like the PCs decide when the gateway opens.
Right. Like a tuning fork
Yeah.
type situation. They can locate the cracked dimensional prison and open it wide enough to enter and face the alchemist.
The staff could be the key, dude. It's tied to
The
the
staff
alchemist.
is tied
Yeah,
to the
the staff
alchemist.
is the key. Got
The
it.
staff is the final key
Yes.
necessary.
Absolutely.
This is the last dungeon, and there is a bit of a timer in that if they retreat out
After
and
appropriate
rest
period.
a night, the alchemist's plague can spread much farther, and the town is in big trouble.
Yes.
Thus, there aren't a ton of moderate plus
Encounters, yeah. Because it's
here.
kind of designed to be like pushed through all the way to the end.
Fortunately, the PCs can use the advantages
Of having a staff.
of knowledge.
Yes.
Advantages and knowledge against these encounters. So, maybe there are a decent number of moderate encounters, but you also have pre-knowledge on what they're going to be.
And so you're able to
So you've
prep for
planned
it.
out, and you're not surprised by the secretly harder one. Which, we knew we were gonna fight these plague gargoyles or whatever. We have something for that. or at least we know that we save the thing that we need for them until they show up.
I also saw mention in chat about like another potential twist if the alchemist has like become a construct at this point. I think that might be a little tricky to work with like what we've been doing here with the more biological theme, but I also think that constructs as some of the monsters that you fight against would make a lot of sense here. So
especially if they're biological constructs like homunculi.
Oh yeah, biological constructs. I think maybe he is a biological construct at this point.
Well, I mean, sort of like they encoded themselves in the disease, so the alchemist almost is the disease at this point. Finally, the PCs face off against the alchemist, and the staff remembers that the staff remembers that the alchemist was once the staff's beloved partner.
Oh, flesh golem for the monsters.
Trying to heal others before the disease warped their mind. Alright, so flesh golem. Gotta have that on here. Awesome. So, alright, I believe we built an adventure structure here. It's got a pretty decent amount of stuff here. In fact, it might even be like more like a level and a half to 2 levels, because even these 5 small facilities don't have that much in them, and they may even only have an encounter or 2. But you then have to fight the wave from that night when you go back to town.
So this is probably
they probably should have like 3-ish encounters, just so you don't have a complete nova.
This may be one of those situations where it's like, you know, they're level 11 for most of it, but then they're level 12 for the final dungeon, and then they get to level 13
at the after the end,
or something like that. Yes. So that it's kind of balanced around like, hey, you know, you're probably level 11 for much of this, and then but make absolutely sure they're 12 by the time they make it to the final dungeon.
That's right.
So that some of the areas might be a little easier because they've leveled up partway through, but the last dungeon is calibrated for 12 because you don't know what order they're going to fight them in.
That's right. I think that because you don't know what order they're gonna fight them in.
Well, another thing that you could potentially do is if with that idea of escalation and advancement, there could be like some kind of a broad like.
You're right, because
later places have this other like environmental modifier that makes it harder, and put this in wherever they go after day 3 or what have you.
Also, I would say, given that because I was saying, given the waves were going to escalate, we probably would want a level up to happen at some point during the, during that encounter the 5 and do the waves. And yes, we could do that also by creating, in this adventure, there could be like a neutral template that you put on creatures where they're plagued, and it kind of weakens some of their stuff and strengthens others. And then the super tumored ones that have only strength that is equivalent to an elite-ish, except for instead of doing it all with math, which can sometimes overestimate the math, but give them no interesting abilities.
You can give them additional
abilities.
Like that,
And so the idea would be, guys, that we are not going to use that template at all in those 5 locations. Those are the Alchemist research areas. They're not the wandering monsters that have those things on it. And there should be a wandering monster table that have it. But when we hit the escalate, or maybe we use the template, but we only use the +0 disease template. But when we hit the escalation point,
then we apply,
every creature in the remaining ones of those 5 locations, all get the +1 tumor template.
So
and because that way, it automatically levels up by 1 at the same time, roughly, that you level up.
So then the adventure is 11 for a good part of it, and then 12 like for maybe it's 11 for the initial thing, and then like the first 3 you'd expect like the first 3 dungeons. If you're really fast, maybe the first 4, but like the 5th dungeon, then you have at least one of those mini dungeons where like, oh yeah, this is definitely worse, and then you have the final dungeon.
So I'm gonna put that in here. Add the +1 super plague adjustment to the remaining 2 facilities. you don't have to do the adjustment to the waves because the waves you already calibrated.
Yeah.
So
if the waves
the
come
waves
with
you
them,
already calibrated to get harder and harder.
Yeah.
So they're just gonna get harder and harder.
And so they start at 11 and then they end at 13.
Yes. And you know what? It might not be exactly 2 levels. Maybe they end at 12 point almost 13.
Yeah, but whatever. As long as we know what level it's most important to calibrate like your final encounter's difficulty to make sure that that's going to be fair.
That's
and
right.
if you have a few encounters along the way that might wind up inadvertently being a little easy because the PCs are efficient, then that's not
great. That's good.
Yeah.
That's actually
it means
plus.
that they're like, oh wow, we did it well, and therefore, so yeah.
Yeah, and just remember to you might be worried, oh, well, the advantage that I'm going to give them from going to these 5 facilities might be too strong. They're going to get knowledge. They're going to get powers. Don't be worried about that. They can be pretty significant advantages that are earned because they earned them by beating those areas.
And because we know that, like, at the end, they're gonna, there's gonna be a strong push for, like, just beat that final dungeon in one stretch. So you're gonna want them to have more advantages that they can bring to bear to feel awesome for that.
Even if that final dungeon's encounters are all seem kind of easy because they use those abilities on them, they're gonna feel that they earned that because they had to go and get those abilities, A, and B, they still were in, like, a boss rush timed run where they couldn't just necessarily... sure, they had 10 minutes to refocus, but they couldn't just necessarily rest for the night, get all their resources back because they opened up the patient, and you've got to finish the surgery.
Yep.
If you want to get rid of the disease.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, so in the end, I imagine that you'll defeat the alchemist, and that the staff is going to have like some mixed feelings about this whole situation, like glad that they put an end to this thing, but also like kind of thinking about what are they going to do next.
That's right. And they're probably going to team up with the PCs.
Yep.
And when the staff is able to accept this, which might not be immediately.
Oh yeah, because maybe the staff was like, I'll travel with you for a bit.
Some RP and convincing from the PCs. The staff regains additional true powers as a true staff of healing.
So now that I'm thinking about this, it also might not be an instantaneous process. So it could be like, the staff, the first thing that happens is that the clear mind heightens up or whatever. And
it could heighten up from 4th to 5th before it goes from 5th to 6th. Because the staff jumps very far from major to true. Because the clear mind goes up 2 ranks.
Yeah.
But maybe it only goes up.
And then you can have this thing by like, the staff of healing is gradually healing as they spend time with the PCs, and sort of like bit by bit leveling up alongside the PCs.
You could. And with role playing and sort of like building your relationship with the staff in vignettes to get all the way there.
Yeah.
Also, intelligent items sometimes have special additional abilities beyond the base item and the ability to use that. So it could unlock something like that. I will put like or intelligent item or new intelligent item powers. All right. So that's what we got. I'm going to send this entire adventure for anybody who wants to run it into tiny.cc/arcanemark. That's our Discord. So if you're already on the Discord, it's just the same Discord that you expect. Into the workshops channel.
We just had it. There it is.
There it is, the workshops channel. So you can come into the workshops channel and
I just got to split that into
we'll
two
split it into
chats,
2 sections because it is
words.
long.
Boop. All right.
All right. It is in the workshops channel. So we finished the adventure. We're done with that. Stick around. I'm going to give you XP. So you won't get it if you don't stick around. And also, please like, please subscribe. Feel free to join us if you want to support us. And let's vote for our next exciting episode of Arcane
So
Mark.
it looks like we had, I'm seeing a vote from David and...
I see 2 3s and a 1.
Math Guy for 3 and a vote from Jaina for 1.
So, here's what we've got. There's 2 votes for GM tools, GM screens, hidden info, and fudging, and 1 vote for build a settlement workshop. 2 votes for build a settlement workshop. So 3 votes for build a settlement workshop. Ooh, it's taking back
4
the
votes
lead.
I think we're I think we're building a settlement.
Yes. Technically, Gina already
Already
voted for it,
voted,
but
but yes.
we're building a settlement. And we're building an NPC on Tuesday, so we're going to keep building.
We're in workshop territory here.
So,
all right, folks.
workshop fans, please make sure to watch these workshops that we keep voting for, because YouTube is telling me that people do not watch the workshop episodes. But it keeps winning the votes, so we're going to keep doing them.
And keep bringing your ideas. We had a lot of really awesome ideas this time. That
was
awesome.
Start brainstorming an NPC idea for Tuesday if you're going to be there. And maybe a settlement idea for next Saturday. We need to have ones that are cool and interesting. They don't have to be as unusual as like being on top of a giant earth elemental, which we have done before.
Weren't you in the gullet of the earth?
Oh yeah, you're right. It is inside of the earth
elemental. Inside of the
elemental.
body of a mountain.
Of course,
size
a giant mountain earth elemental. But any settlement or NPC ideas, we'll take them. Don't tell us what they are yet. So because
we have to. The point is we don't know.
The point is we don't know in advance. But bring them with you when we come on. All right. Take care, everyone. Please have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of it. And we will see you on